Falcons are actually relieved that he's kind of not there to create more of a distraction. Look, I mean, I said it the day it happened. It was one of the stupider decisions I've ever seen by a professional NFL franchise to sign a quarterback to a $180 million contract and then draft his replacement exactly 5 weeks later. This was a terrible organizational decision by the Falcons. Now, they're going to spin this, and this is what's annoying about the Falcons and their PR staff. They're going to spin this as if this is the plan we had all along. This is the plan that when, Kirk Cousins either got hurt or didn't play well or got too old, we were going to have Penix come in. And guess what? The new plan is now we're going to keep Kirk Cousins as a backup. So if Michael Penix gets hurt, we told you so. We were right for keeping him on the roster. We were smart for keeping him here. No, this whole thing has been an abject disaster.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Steelers' interest in Aaron Rodgers as a joke. Your boy went off about the entire situation and why it taken so long to forget him. Terry Bradshaw getting involved.
Yeah, insane. Basically, what are you bringing him in for 1 year? All of this drama for 1 year at this guy, where he is now in his career is he's washed.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports.
Welcome in, everybody, to SportsGrid. This is Fantasy Sports Today. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pizzapia. With me today is George Kurtz. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there, all the dads getting it done. George, happy Father's Day to you. You're a father of a few ladies, as am I. All us girl dads out there, especially, have an extra cocktail, especially those who have teenage girls, because I've got a couple of them, and George, might have one or two still living in his home today. We got a lot of baseball to talk about today. Going to go through the return of Spencer Strider. And if you watched the show last week, you bought low before the Colorado game. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about maybe the Yankees, if George isn't too cranky about it in this early morning. I don't know. Last two Red Sox games, a lot of strikeouts from Aaron Judge. Maybe we'll get into that. But George, first of all, I think we got to talk about some of those call-ups, including a fella named Roman Anthony on those Boston Red Sox. The top prospect in baseball was called up earlier this week. You look at the AAA stats, George, 10 homers, 29 RBI, 288 batting average, a 423 OBP, the slugging nearing 500, the OPS over 900. Roman Anthony got the call. I don't think he's going to get sent back down again. I think Rafaela probably goes to the bench and becomes more of a super util guy as the Red Sox trying to find their way the last couple days. So that being said, what's your first take on what you've seen so far out of Roman Anthony?
Well, he's going to be a star. All right. Whether or not it's going to be this year, next year, 2 years down the line here, that was a wait and see prospect here. So we need to have some patience here. Same thing with Caglianone, right? On Kansas City. Same thing. You may have to wait a little bit. Caglianone did have his exit velocity was off the charts, right? We were big talking about that. He had the 4-hit game. That's not really much outside of that here. Patience. We all need to remember Mike Trout was sent down after his first call up. All right, doesn't always work. Baseball is a really tough game here. So if you're expecting, oh my God, he's going to carry me to a fantasy championship, in the first 3 months of their career, that probably was wishful thinking here. But they're both going to be star players here. I have little doubt about that. It just may not be right from the get-go here.
Well, first of all, George, I want to commend you for color coordinating with me on a Father's Day weekend. It's very nice of you. Second of all, what's your exit velocity when you get up from a chair nowadays? I know mine is probably like 2.5 miles an hour. I'm just curious where you're at.
It's painful, All right, a lot of cracking. You hear every bone in my body crack. My wife just laughs, by the way. I tell the story. You get out of bed in the middle of the night here. Let's face it. I go to the bathroom quite a few times at night, and my wife hears this. She goes, "Oh, is that our floors? Because we have hardwood floors." No, honey, that's my bones. As every bone in the body cracks here. So yeah, you sit down for a certain amount of time. I really don't want to get up.
See, that's why George and I are jealous of all these young prospects who can run and jump at will. Speaking of young prospects, another one made their debut for the Milwaukee Brewers. The long-anticipated Jacob Misiorowski start did not disappoint. Misiorowski, really a guy who has been always lighting up the radar gun, George. Walks have been his issue in the minor leagues. He seems to have gotten that under control this year in his major league debut. He went 5 innings. He did walk 4 guys. That's one thing to keep in mind there. 5 strikeouts. He did get the W. No hit innings, though. That was the key. 5 no-hit innings for Jacob Misiorowski. A very impressive debut. Yesterday, a very non-impressive start from Jose Quintana. You know, the Brewers this year, they've had Logan Henderson come up and make a few really good starts. I mean, dare I say great starts. Misiorowski looked unhittable literally in his debut. I'm not sure what the Brewers are doing here, George. I mean, they've got these kids who seem like they're ready to go, and they still keep futzing around with guys like Aaron Savali, who's now been sent away to the White Sox. Jose Quintana, who is, approaching 40. His exit velo getting up is getting closer and closer to mine and George's every single day. But it seems like eventually the Brewers have to turn this page to the youth in this rotation, especially with Brandon Woodruff having to stay that rehab start yet another couple weeks after being hit in the elbow. So what did you make of Misiorowski's debut, George? And on top of that, how many starts can we expect from him and some of these other kids in this rotation as the season goes on here down the stretch?
My home league, let's face it, it's the only league I truly care about. Those ones I play in, you always want to beat your family, your friends here. Had a choice, Misiorowski or Abel on Philadelphia, which one to take here? And I feel like I made the wrong one here. As I took Abel here because that was the same thought. Nola went down, wasn't going to pitch him off. Philadelphia, better team, more offense. Not liked Abel. I wish I would have grabbed Misiorowski. Did try to grab him, but I was overclaimed. Listen, you already said it. Kid throws hard, really hard. He looked great in his debut here. The worry was walks, right? He has great speed. Doesn't always know where it's going. All right, and one of those guys there. He had trouble in the minor leagues here. Last couple of starts before being called up, he seemed to get it back under control here. He did turn his ankle in that start. That's why he left at the 5 innings. You watched that video. That looked brutal. He's lucky he didn't do more than turn it because he stepped on it. Oh, man, I can feel the pain from here when he did that here. So we'll see if he makes his next start. I think it's on Wednesday. We'll see how that comes about here. But you're right. It made no sense to send down Henderson. I was like, why? You're doing it for guys who he's better than these guys. Aren't you trying to win now, which they are doing? So it was a surprise here. But, Henderson, Misiorowski, Woodruff, when he is ready to return, who's coming out? And there is some worry there. Who's coming out? If they could send down Henderson, they could send down Misiorowski as well here if they're playing games. I don't understand what the plan is here in Milwaukee. Maybe try to showcase everybody, make some trades here. If you have extra starting pitching, they're not going to trade Misiorowski, not going to trade Henderson, probably not trading Woodruff. Maybe Quintana goes, maybe Priesta goes, hell, maybe Peralta goes. Right, that wouldn't shock me either here. Maybe that's what they're doing here, Joe. But it's been very curious how they've handled these guys.
Well, I think at their best, the Milwaukee rotation, and we're going to give you some stats on them. We got a fun segment coming up where we're digging deep into some of the numbers for the Milwaukee rotation in just a little while here, this first hour. But, Logan Henderson so far this year, 21 innings, 14 hits, 29 strikeouts, 6 walks, a whip under 1, an ERA of 1.71 in his 4 starts this year for the Brewers. Misiorowski's been great. If you could put a healthy Peralta, eventually, theoretically, Woodruff, Logan Henderson, and then on top of which Misiorowski, and maybe your 5th guy is Patrick, who's actually pitched pretty well this year too. I don't think we need to see Quinn Priester or Jose Quintana. The Brewers have a shot here, especially now that Kyle Tucker has come back down to earth a little bit. You see the Cubs just kind of collectively slowing down offensively in that pace, which was unsustainable in the first place. I still think the Brewers win this over the 162-game season. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. We also had a return this week of one of the bright young pitchers in Major League Baseball, George, and that's Yuri Perez of the Miami Marlins. Now, the first start against the Pirates was not his best, but the good news is his velocity was very high. His velocity was up at 98. That's what you want to see. Would you start him today against the Washington Nationals, George? That's my question for you.
Oh, I would start anyone against the Washington Nationals. Sorry, that's just me tweaking. Sam again. Going to continue this from yesterday, by the way. That being said, if you're not starting him versus the Nationals, what are you waiting for? Colorado? Do you want to start against Pittsburgh? The White Sox? I mean, the Nationals are an average hitting team to maybe slightly below average here. So, yeah, I probably would. Now, the question is always going to be, well, do I have choices? I mean, if you're in a head-to-head league, am I trying to protect something? If I need wins, it could be tough. You know, I mean, he could pitch very well and still lose 2-1, 3-2. Do a Paul Skeen start, right? So it depends on what I'm looking for here. But like I said, if I can't start him against the Nationals, why is he on my roster? What am I waiting for? What am I hoping for? So odds are, yeah, I am starting. Even in a weekly lineup league, maybe I didn't start him this week because I want to see how he was going to look, and I was afraid of him blowing up my ratios or something like that, coming back off the IL. I think it's legitimate here. But as for just a one-off today, if you're deciding, yeah, odds are he's going here. We're not talking about a heavy offensive team. Oh my God, they might score 17 runs against them. I don't see that happening. I think he'll be fine. I don't know if he's going to be great, not yet, and I don't know if he's going to get that W.
Emmett Sheehan might make his next start with the Dodgers. And don't look now, kids, but Shohei Ohtani also starting to ramp up. He threw 44 pitches in a simulated game for 3 innings. So it's the only way you could do it is simulation, right? Because he's Shohei Ohtani, and you can't afford to have him go making rehab starts. Kasparius in that rotation for the Dodgers, too. A lot of names to speculate on, and finally a good start from Clayton Kershaw yesterday. The Dodgers, another team using a lot of SPs. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the latest injuries and how they impact your fantasy teams. Don't go anywhere. More FSD right after this.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Welcome back, everybody, to Fantasy Sports Today, FST, here on SportsGrid. Joe Pisapia, George Kurtz with you. George, it's time to get into the injury report. And what would a week be without pitching injuries? I mean, it is just crazy. Every single day, you get another major pitcher, it feels like, going on the IL for a stint. If there's one thing you need, it's depth at starting pitching and also cost-effective returns. George, I went back this week and I looked at some of the top 25 starters that were selected in fantasy leagues this year. And I have to tell you, it is upsetting, infuriating, all the feelings that Nathan Lane was having in the birdcage, all those dismayed, very, very concerning situations here when it comes to starting pitching. And if you waited and took some shots on some guys later, like Hunter Brown, like Hunter Green, who was also on the IL, unfortunately, but you got rewarded basically with some of the later good cherry picks of the starting pitchers as opposed to early pitching. I'm curious, as you're looking back on some of the teams that you've drafted this year, have you been somebody that faded away from the early starting pitching onslaught? And how are those teams doing that maybe you didn't go away from starting pitching early?
I generally draft the same way here. It's changed over the years. It used to be heavy offense. I mean, at one point, it was probably 4 of the first 5 rounds I was taking an offensive player here. Then I sort of changed here with the first 2 rounds. I want to get my ace, all right? Whether that's Zach Wheeler, whoever it might be, Yamamoto. I don't think I got Skubal anywhere this year because I'm not spending a mid-first round pick on a starter. I'm just not doing it. We all know Tommy John Surgery is coming for all these guys eventually. I just can't justify it here. But at the end of the first round, 10, 11, 12, and certainly top of the second round is where I look for my starting pitcher. My teams are generally okay. I'm that guy. 12-team league. 3 teams will not pay attention, so they're gone. All right, that's just the way it is in every league here. They get up to a slow start, so they don't pay attention. They're looking forward to football, whatever. All right, so they're done. 3 other teams will get eliminated by injuries. Nothing they can do. They just had the injury bug. They're gone too. So I'm a big believer. I know I'm paying attention. If I can just avoid the injury bug, I'm competing with 5 other teams for whatever the prize is. Top 3, first overall, whatever it might be. So I just have to avoid the injury bug. It's why I pretty much, I get on that soapbox all draft season. Be careful with taking players who get hurt every year. Because if they get hurt every year, they're going to get hurt for you. And other players are coming on that get hurt anyway. So now you could be one of those 3 teams that just get screwed. There's nothing you can do here. And it may be partially your fault because you took guys who get hurt every damn season. Trout, Buxton, guys like this. Great when they play, but ability is not always their greatest thing.
No, availability. There you go. That's what you're looking for. The availability is the best ability. Unfortunately, Cole Reagans won't be available for some time. Cole Reagans hits the IL with a left rotator cuff strain. Not good, George. Also, even worse is the dreaded second opinion. Now, George, I don't know. We've been doing this for quite some time. Decades now, I would say, you and I. So whenever you hear the word second opinion, I typically know what that means, which is I'm not going to see Cole Reagans for a very long time, typically. And I think the Royals have to figure that out now from a fantasy standpoint. Noah Cameron just kind of bumps back into this rotation. I know his last start against the Yankees wasn't where he wanted to be, but that's okay. You give him a pass. Other than that, he's been pretty good this year. You've still got Waka, Lugo, Bubic, and Lorenzen in this rotation. But from a fantasy perspective, replacing Cole Reagans is difficult. And this is now, the 3rd time with an injury he is going to miss time this season. So Cole Reagans now officially becomes one of those guys, George, that I feel like you're talking about, that all of a sudden now you don't really trust him going into next season. So do you think we see him again this year, George? And what is your take on him potentially for next season in terms of avoiding or fading Cole Reagans?
Yeah, when you get a second opinion, if I go to a doctor says, hey, you're fine. Oh, good. Oh, thanks, doc. I'm going to get another opinion. No, generally oh, thanks, doc. Great. I'm going back to work. You're getting a second opinion because the first opinion was bad. Okay, bad. So that's certainly not a good thing. And by the way, shoulder's worse than elbow. At least with the elbow, all right, you have to go Tommy John. You'll probably be fine when you get back. Shoulder, you wreck your shoulder. You got a torn rotator cuff, torn labrum. Guys don't come back from that. They're not the same player, so you're really hoping it's not that. And by the way, they're also not in a rush to get the second opinion. That's not good either. I mean, either way, he's sort of screwed here. Even if it comes up back better, you're still out for a while. Listen. What are you going to do? You're going to try and trade him? I mean, good luck to you. I mean, who's going to buy this? Somebody living under a rock and not paying attention here? I think he's pretty much done for the season, Joe. I don't think you're going to see much of him. And if it's bad, I think I would be avoiding him like the plague next year. Even if I hear he's fine. He's going to start opening day and all that. I don't think I would be touching him because I think his value is still going to be around round 3, round 4. Maybe mid-rounds. And I'm not doing it. I am just not touching him.
I could see that happening, depending on what the length of this injury is and surgery potentially on there. Also out for quite some time, for at least 4 or 6 weeks, Bryce Miller in the Seattle rotation, another big blow to the Seattle rotation, unfortunately, injury-wise. Luckily, Kirby's turned things around, and Logan Gilbert is close to returning. So Logan Evans was filling in. He'll probably get bumped when Logan Gilbert comes back, and Emerson Hancock or Logan Evans. One of the two will stick in that rotation. Another one, too, Kodai Senga will be placed on the IL with a grade 1 hamstring strain. Now, the good news is it's grade 1, so it's the least of the hamstring strains. But, George, I also put this out there. I don't know how you feel about it. To me, Kodai Senga didn't pitch at all last year. Giving him this artificial breather now because of this injury is actually a good thing, because I had real concerns of him fading in August, September, and into the playoffs as that full season started to catch up with him a little bit. What's your take on this? Is this a weird blessing in disguise for Senga and the Mets, and even fantasy owners for that matter?
Well, that's the optimistic viewpoint, and it's certainly a view. I don't mind it, by the way. Right? I'm kind of remember the Yankees and Red Sox in the '90s, going back. Boy, all their pitchers would have a phantom shoulder, elbow soreness in like July to get to that 2-3 week break. Right? Listen, that's fine. It's a long season. Go for it here. They're not doing that with Senga. He actually legitimately is hurt. Listen, if he comes back and he's the Senga of old, you could make that argument. That'll be good for Senga. It's going to be fresher. He wasn't going to pitch 1,000 innings anyway after missing most of last season here. Whether or not he's back quickly, wasn't he day to day for most of the season last year? He never pitched. We never saw him again from the injury. So, we'll see. But sure, that's the optimistic viewpoint, that he'll be even better when he returns, because you won't have to worry about the innings limit here. The bad throw from Alonso causes him to stretch the hamstring a little bit. Mets struggling this weekend, right? That pitching's getting a little shellacked here. We'll wonder if they're regressing back to the means, or at least back to what we thought they were going to be. That being said, it is a very small sample size.
Nice try, Kurtz. Nice try. There's still 20 games over 500. Also, Jackson Jobe to miss the rest of this year with Tommy John surgery. So another blow to the Tigers rotation and to Dynasty League managers everywhere. He'll be gone all of this year, most of next year. But we'll be back with a look at the big board. We return. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Their team totals 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back, because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Every single day, the fantasy landscape impacts the wagering landscape. And we're going to take a look at the big board here and ask some important questions of George Kurtz. George, before we get into some of the Cy Young boards that I want to talk to you about in the American League and National League, I want to talk to you about the Atlanta Braves for a moment, if I may. Last week, we talked about buying low on Spencer Strider, that the velo would come back when the legs got healthier. And guess what? It certainly was back yesterday as he was throwing 98, 99, striking out 13 Colorado Rockies, which I know it's the Rockies. Let's not get too crazy. But the schedule lines up in a really interesting way for the Atlanta Braves. Right now, if you currently look at it, in the month of June, they've got a home-and-home series against the Mets. They play the Phillies. They also play the Marlins, and then leading into the break, George, they get the Angels, the Orioles, and the Athletics as they head into the All-Star break. Could the Braves be poised for a run? And if so, would you be taking that Braves to make the playoffs at plus 245 that's currently on the board?
I don't think you're getting anywhere near the value. Plus 245, they are 7 games out of the wild card. Got to hop over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams. All right, I need more value than that. I don't care if it's the Braves. You know, they've had problems, injuries all season long. They haven't hit a lot. You know, and we're getting all excited because they beat Colorado a couple of games in a row. Really, that's why we're being excited here. I mean, am I saying they're done? No, I kind of think they are because once again, who's falling out? The teams that once again, Cincinnati, Arizona, St. Louis, Milwaukee. They got to hop over them. Then they got to hop over a playoff team: San Diego, San Fran, Philadelphia. Who are we taking out? Who's not making it? You know, it's also important
I don't
to look
believe
at
in those central teams. I'll be honest with you. And I think you start to look at some of those rotations. If realize that the Braves the first 2 months of the season didn't have Acuna, barely had Strider. If you get Strider and Sale pitching as well as they have, and we're going to talk about Sale in a second here, I think they're very formidable. I think this kind of tells the tale these next couple of weeks, though. If they can handle their business, let's say they go 7-3 or something like that against the Mets and Phillies in the games that they've got coming up against them, all of a sudden they're kind of back in that conversation at least a little bit. And then if they can take advantage of the weaker schedule when they play some of those weaker American League teams, all of a sudden don't be shocked if the Braves will make a run. I like it. I get George's point. He's probably right mathematically. You should get a better number on that, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. Let's take a look at the Cy Young board. Paul Skeens can't buy a win, George, no matter what he does. Minus 250, he's still the leader. Plus 700 on Yamamoto. Wheeler plus 12. Chris Sale plus 16, which I actually bet recently because if you throw out April, where he had a 4.84 ERA, he has had an ERA under 1.5 ever since. He's got 61 strikeouts, just 16 walks over his last 40 plus innings. He has been the Cy Young really outside of one bad month. George, you think Chris Sale's got a shot at this thing here as the season drags on and Paul Skeens continues to struggle to show up in the win column?
Well, Chris Sale has also struggled to show up in the win column, right?
Fair.
Same problem. And if you're going to go with they both struggle, well, Skeens is better. Man, it's just there's no other way to look at that. You know, do I think? Listen, Skeens might get 6 wins this season. I mean, I know they don't look at that anymore, and they shouldn't, right? Because wins is really a product of just luck and you know how your offense is. But I think it still would be tough to vote for a Cy Young with some of these guys for 6 wins. You know, 7 wins, 8 wins, whatever it might be. I don't think he's getting double digits. Theoretically, the Pirates are going to get worse, right? Because they will trade away some players. Maybe Pham goes, maybe McCutchen goes at the deadline here. And that offense is going to be even more terrible. So it sort of is what it is here. I'm a Wheeler guy, but he always seems to be the bridesmaid, not the bride there. Yamamoto, I don't know if he can last the whole season either. You're also talking about a guy who, I do wonder this, Joe, when Glasnow and Snell come back, if maybe Yamamoto, sore elbow, he needs 3 weeks off, that sort of thing, to give him the break that these other guys have gotten here. I think it's wide open. You know, I do think it's wide open. In the end, I think, once again, I don't think it can be Sale over Skeens because they're the same as far as the wins are concerned here. I think Sale will have more wins for the reasons you mentioned. Better team, they'll start hitting now. But I don't think Sale can beat Skeens for that reason.
All right, let's take a look at the National League Rookie of the Year board real quick. Drake Baldwin has really fallen off a map. He's still at the top there. He's hitting only $140 over his last 50 at-bats. Agustin Ramirez has been even worse. Shaw's been okay, nothing spectacular. Kasperius, now that he might go in that Dodger rotation, is intriguing long shot-wise, as is Mizorowski. How do you see this board working out right now? Because it seems like NL Rookie of the Year is still very much up for grabs.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be Kasperius because the healthy guy, the injured guys are coming back. He's going to lose his spot here, right? With Ohtani, Snell, Glasnow, all will be back within the next month. So he probably loses his spot there. Mizorowski, he can keep it up. He's the noisy guy, right? He's the guy getting all the pub here. So I would certainly take a strong look at him.
All right, so we'll take a strong look at Mr. Mizorowski in that Rookie of the Year, see if he can keep it up. When we come back, It's Splitsville, baby. Some of the numbers that are going to impact your fantasy landscape. We'll be right back.
Their team totals 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back, because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Welcome back, everybody, to FST. The numbers are very important, and all of us nerds, we love to talk numbers, but some of these splits, now that we've got almost half a season under our belts, are really important because not only do they impact some of your fantasy decision-making processes, they also impact some of your wagering, and there's ways to make money off of these as well. So listen up, everybody, because we've got some splits that are going to really matter. And let's start with Jose Barrios this year, who always ends up being a league average pitcher pretty much, maybe a little above average, because he got some good starts and some bad starts. And this year, a lot of those happen to be at home in terms of the bad starts. Take a look at the ERA difference here for Jose Barrios. At home, 8 games, a 4.05 ERA, a 1.31 whip. But on the road, 6 games this year, a 2.50 ERA, 1.17 whip. George, Barrios really is getting it done on the road this year, and I think that's really intriguing because he's one of those guys, I think, if you're looking at the board trying to make a bet, you're always worried, which Jose Barrios I'm going to get tonight. And it seems like the one you're getting, at least when he's out of Canada, is the one that you want. So do you think that's something you could take advantage of in 2025?
Yeah, I can't find this surprising. All right, they moved those fences in across the entire field at Toronto a couple of years ago. The place was already a home run haven. Now they made it a smaller ballpark here. For whatever reason, that move never made sense to me, why Toronto did that. You think Guerrero needs help hitting home runs? You know, it's weird. Although the funny thing is they don't hit as well at home as they do on the road, at least not coming into this season here. So, as you said, Barrios is a little bit above league average. The numbers are important. We are no longer in a small sample size as far as the baseball season is concerned now, right? We're in mid-June. We played, 70 games, 65, 70 games here. So the numbers are the numbers here. You can start to rely on them more. Yeah, I think we can look at this. They go, hey, maybe I don't want to start him at home here. Not so sure I want to start him today either, Joe. All right, that's Philadelphia. That's another bandbox playing today. So, I'd be very careful with him. But I can't say these numbers surprise me at all that he has trouble pitching at home in Toronto in that small park.
All right, so Jose Barrios, a guy that we want to stay away from in the smaller ballpark now in Toronto. Let's talk about Ben Brown, who might just be a vampire at the end of the day. Let's be honest. When you start to look at these stats, for whatever reason, he is not a day walker. He is not somebody who likes the sunlight. Take a look at these splits. And I know Ben Brown is very tantalizing when you start to look at what he can do in the strikeout universe. 7 games in the day, though. 7.99 ERA, a 1.78 whip. 7 games in the evening. Give me that 640, 710. Give me Ben Brown. 7 games then, a 3.68 ERA, a 1.20 whip. George, this is stunning. These splits are unbelievable, especially when you consider it's unfortunate that Ben Brown happens to pitch for the Wrigley Field-bound Chicago Cubs, who still play a little bit more day games than some other organizations typically do. Ben Brown is a guy that I know fantasy circles are trying to figure out and crack the code. I feel like we cracked it here. It's just a matter of you flat out can't start him in day games. I don't know what it is about his routine. I don't know if he's hanging out at the club at night and doing whatever he's doing. I don't know. Maybe he's got some raves happening at nighttime and the mornings are tough for him. But George, these stats are stark in terms of splits. So what do you make of these? I mean, it feels like you should be very afraid of Ben Brown in the daytime.
To put it nicely, now you'd probably want to go a little further in a breakdown. Who's he pitched against in those days? I mean, has it been top lineups here, that sort of thing? Did he have one bad starts that have really inflated those numbers here, which can happen? But just looking at it from a general look here, yeah, I'm not starting him during the day. All right, it's not like he's not a guy I'm dying to start anyway. It's not like he's not Zach Wheeler. Where, I want to start him. No, he's a guy. Okay, you think about. And now this day, no, night game, yes, day game, no. It's really kind of that simple for me until you see a change here. Listen, people think Wrigley, they always think the wind's blowing out. The wind blows in at Wrigley much more than it blows out, but maybe he's been the unlucky guy. But every 5th day when he's at home, the wind's blowing out, gale force. So maybe he's that guy too here, but you can't ignore those numbers here. You just can't. Like I said, he's not a guy I'm dying to start anyway, so day game, I'm definitely not starting him.
Well, look, I would normally agree with you. It's like, okay, let's say what the teams, if it was like 3 starts or something like that, but 7 and you pitch for the Cubs, and I know there's more day games ahead of you this summer because you pitch for the Cubs. And if you recall this, George, because you and I are children of the 80s or 70s or whatever we might want to say, right? We remember the days where free agents didn't want to sign with the Cubs, but there's so many day games and it really was not their bag and they didn't want to do that because they enjoyed the nightlife a little bit. I'm not saying that's Ben Brown. Maybe he's just up on his PlayStation all night playing Call of Duty. Whatever it is, he's got to stop doing it because it's been brutal. And if you see Ben Brown, you take the over in the daytime. I'm telling you right now, you will not be disappointed. You just won't be. I did it earlier this week when he was pitching during the day, and guess what? I hit it. Ben Brown did it all by himself. Let's go to the next guy here. Now, this one, George, maybe you could cherry pick a little bit. It's only 3 game starts here for Shane Baz in the daytime. But in those 3 day starts, a 10.20 ERA, a 2.13 whip. In the evening, 10 games, 3.56 ERA, 1.13 whip. Baz has been another guy that's been a little disappointing at times this year, a little up and down, but it really seems like we have hyper-targeted and focused on why maybe this is the problem here, and maybe just continue to, for whatever reason, pitchers are creatures of habit, stay away from them when it comes to some of these day games. And Shane Baz is another guy, George. It doesn't seem like he likes pitching in the afternoon.
Yeah, I don't know if 3 games I care about. Not really worried about that there. Once again, it could also be a product of Tampa Bay playing at Steinbrenner Field, which is a smaller ballpark, especially to right field. It is mild at the Yankee Stadium there. So I don't think they're going to panic about that all that much as far as I think the Browns numbers are much more are stronger. 7-7. All right, that I can buy. 3 games. Once again, I'm looking at his starts here. The bad starts, I can't say if it's day or night right now, but he gave up 5 earned runs against Miami. All right, that probably shouldn't happen. 6 against Philadelphia, I'm okay with that. I understand. 7 against Kansas City, all right. 5 against the Yankees. I remember that start there. That was during the day. So I'm okay with it. I'm not going to panic about Shane Baz here. He was supposed to be a top guy. Remember come back injured this year, so maybe April's a little shaky for him. Granted, not all those starts are in April. A couple of them are in May. So not all the excuse here for Shane Baz, but I'm okay with Baz. What I might worry about Tampa Bay is, remember this could be good or bad, depending on how you want to look at it. They're going to play a truckload of road games starting shortly, right?
Yeah.
Now that now the summer's coming, the weather's heating up. They don't want to play those day games in Florida where people are going to die of heat stroke here. Not to mention it rains every damn day, all right, which is doing here anyway. So be very careful with that here, but that could also be a good thing. As I said, Steinbrenner Field, Clay's towards the home run, especially it's a right field here. So maybe getting on the road could even be a better thing for Shane Bass and really all the members of that pitching staff.
Maybe. Yeah, it's a good point. It's a counterpoint there. 38 and 32, the Rays are right now. Some more splits here to pay attention to. Jesus Luzardo had a great bounce back start after 2 horrific outings. But one thing is really interesting when you dig a little deeper in the numbers. Against right-handed batters this year, he has given up a 304 batting average against, an 810 OPS. As opposed to lefties that he's absolutely dominating, a 192 batting average against and 460 OPS. George, can Luzardo sustain this success currently, giving up that sort of contact and power to right-handed batters?
Probably not, right? Probably not. I mean, all right, he had the 2 bad starts. Apparently, he was tipping his pitches. All right. And by the way, it was the thing where if you look at the video, yeah, he was tipping them. And if I can spot it, yeah, that everybody else is spotting it too. So apparently there's that. The worry with Luzardo has always been, all right, when's the injury coming? When's he getting hurt? That's what you always worry about with him. So it's mid-June. We haven't had it yet. I have to think it is coming eventually here where he's going to get hurt and miss a couple of weeks, maybe a month. Those splits are the wrong side, right? You don't mind those against left-handed batters because you don't face as many. Righties, you face a lot of those. You're playing in a bandbox in Philadelphia. So, yeah, I am concerned somewhat. But he's pitched through it so far. Seems to be somebody who gets himself out of trouble, right? People are on base, but he pitches out of it here. What are you going to do? You're not trading him. I guess you could try and trade high right now. Maybe it's worth a shot here. But I'm riding Luzardo.
One more split real quick here. The Brewers at home this year as a collective starting pitching group, 3.25 ERA on the road, 4.39. So the Brewers, ironically, at home, tougher ballpark, have been better. More FST when we return.
Their team totals 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all. It's
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Max Fried, one might argue, was the most important signing of the offseason. He has been the anchor of the Yankee rotation so far this year. When Garrett Cole went down, Max Fried stepped in, and he has been absolutely brilliant, pitching to a sub-2 ERA all season long. Not to mention, he has a great mustache, too, we all love. But on top of that, Max Fried's gotten some help, and I can't think of the best person here possibly besides George Kurtz to help us break down the Yankees, because Max Fried hasn't really needed to pitch as well as he had, because I don't know if you realize this, George. The Yankees have a plus 62 run differential in the start of Max Fried this year. So they're excited when Max Fried takes the mound, and there's a reason why Max Fried might feel unbeatable right now. This is an incredible trend. So if you're making bets on the Yankees when Max Fried is out there, you might want to look at that run line on the 1.5, maybe even tease it a little bit more, because the Yankees offense really shows up and shows out whenever Max Fried is on the mound. George, what do you make of this incredible differential for a guy who right now, the way he's pitched all year, doesn't need it, but it sure is nice to have that cushion?
He's been fantastic for the Yankees. You can make a pretty strong argument, by the way, that if the Yankees signed Juan Soto, they'd be in a lot of trouble right now. And it has nothing to do with Juan Soto. All right, if they signed Juan Soto, they would not have signed Max Fried. All right, then you wouldn't have Fried. You don't have Heel. You don't have Cole. You in a lot of trouble. So actually, it might have worked out for the Yankees that it worked for this season anyway. Long term, I don't, Fried's going to get hurt. He's, he's older. His last couple of years of that contract going to be a bust, that sort of thing. But for this year, it certainly did work out well for Cashman and the Yankees here. The plus differential, well, a big part of that, by the way, is, he's only giving up a run or two a game. Yankees score 4 runs a game. Yeah, you just do the math there. 14 starts, that's plus 42 right there. They've only scored 4 runs. Fried's been fantastic. So it's not like he's pitching great because of the Yankees scoring runs for him. He's pitching tonight for the Yankees against the today. I'm sorry. I'm just surprised the Yankee Red Sox game is not on Sunday Night Baseball. Happy it's not, mind you, but I'm just surprised. He's pitching today. The Yankees are not scoring runs right now. Yankees 5 runs in the last 30 innings, and one of those was an unearned run on that the gift from Pasquantino to give the Yankees the win on Wednesday night when they threw the ball away at home. It's not clicking right now. So keep that in mind. I think that's going to be a little closer game than people give it credit for. Plus, left-hander, Fenway Park could be a problem for Max Fried there. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes here for those Yankees. I think it's nice that they give somebody else a chance on Sunday Night Baseball. I don't need to see the Yankees and Red Sox every Sunday night. It's Father's Day at the ballpark. Everybody go out there to the ballpark, enjoy the day games. All right, let's get to the next by the number segment. George Kirby had one hell of a performance last week, striking out a career-high 12 in one game. Kirby surpassed 500 strikeouts to go with his 68 walks in just 93 games started in his career. The only major league player to have 500-plus Ks and fewer than 70 walks in any span of 93 starts is Greg Maddux. That's some pretty incredible company. George, Mr. Kirby there, your namesake here, another fine George, certainly turned things around after a couple of rocky starts from his return. So patience has been rewarded. If you bought low on George Kirby, my goodness, talk about good timing. But the Seattle rotation needs Gilbert too. With Gilbert, Kirby back at the top and healthy, what do you think the Mariners might be able to do this year in the playoffs, especially considering Cal Raleigh's bat, how he's performed this year? Do the Mariners really have maybe the best chance they've had in a long time to actually make some noise in the playoffs this season?
I think that's fair. They really haven't changed all that much, right? I mean, Kirby, all right? You've got Wu and Castillo as well here, right? I mean, this rotation that very few teams, if anybody in baseball, can match, especially when Bryce Miller is healthy as well. No one has 5 starters like that. Nobody here. They are hitting better than they have in the past, right? You mentioned Raleigh, J-Rod, who started hitting from pretty much day one this year, but usually it takes until about July before he really heats up there. Rosarina, they need another bat. Okay, they need another bat. They needed it last year. Will they go out and get it? I don't know. I don't know if they're willing to go out and spend that. But the big thing for the Mariners is that if not them, who? There's no great team in the American League. Yankees aren't great. Nobody in the Central is great. I mean, Detroit seems to be the team to beat right now because their pitching staff can be dangerous as well. But I don't think Seattle's worried about playing them and go, oh, my God, yeah, Scooble's going to be a problem. Well, we can match that with Kirby. We can match that with Gilbert when healthy. We'll be right there with them. It'll be a great – there'll be no run scored in that series. So there's no runaway team. I know Houston's playing well right now, but they're not all that great. Any team that gets hot, to me, whoever gets hot in October is going to ride the American League here. I like the Mariners to have as good a chance as anybody else. Give me a bat, Joe, and I'll be all on the Mariners.
Hot take, George. I'm betting on National League teams to win the World Series this year. I agree. I don't think the American League is strong at all. And I know the Tigers are the class of the American League, but, I saw Flaherty get blown up again this weekend. And Skubal is brilliant. More on him in just a moment. But he has just been fantastic. I just don't know if I'm afraid of the Tigers, if I'm the Dodgers or the Mets or even the Phillies or teams like that. One guy that could be on the trade block soon has pitched really well. We talk about Skeens not getting any support. How about Mitch Keller? Can we talk about Mitch Keller for a moment here? My goodness, poor Mitch Keller. He is 1-9 with a 4.15 ERA, but he has 10 quality starts and 14 tries. He's 0-7 in 9 starts in which he's allowed 2 or 3 runs. George, life isn't fair, and it feels like Mitch Keller's season has not been fair. Maybe the Blue Jays, maybe the Minnesota Twins, considering the injuries they've had to their rotation. Somebody's got to come knocking here for Mitch Keller. Don't you think some team could really use some of these quality starts that's actually contending?
So a Pirates pitcher that's having trouble getting wins. Shocking. Shocking. Listen, what are we going to talk? What's to talk about? We already went by Skeens. Keller's the same situation. He may not be Skeens. They can't score. All right, they need no moves during the offseason. All right, a fan doesn't count. McCutcheon doesn't count. A bunch of guys who wouldn't be starting. And I love Andrew McCutcheon, by the way, but guys who really shouldn't be starting anymore. I mean, come on. All right, this is on the owner's fault here. He should sell the team. Obviously, he doesn't care. Would it be great for Keller to go to another team? Absolutely. I think he'd be a 2, an SP2. I'm the Yankee fan. Love to have Keller. Everybody would love to have Keller. Whether they'll trade him or not, we don't know here. But it sucks for fantasy players because you're not getting it. It's going to be very difficult to get a W. Hey, maybe that's why he's playing more quality start leagues.
Yeah, maybe the Red Sox will knock on that door for the Pirates to give them Mitch Keller too. A lot of teams should be lining up there. Also, we mentioned it before, the Dodgers have used a ton of starting pitchers. In fact, they've used the most starting pitchers in baseball, 15 already, and more to come because eventually you will get Ohtani making a start. You start Kasparius make a start. The Dodgers keep finding ways to win and different guys to start those games. When we return, we're going to do a deep dive on a guy who might be the most underrated star in baseball.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, let's do a little deep dive here on a guy that is the heart and soul. He took a team-friendly deal for the Cleveland Guardians a couple years ago, and my goodness, they should build a statue to this guy right now. Don't wait for him to retire, because Jose Ramirez is carrying this team, George. Yet again, here we are. We look at the standings on the season. The Guardians are basically a 500 team. They're 3-7 in their last 10, though. It's been a rough stretch for them. They've had some injuries. They got some good news, though. Shane Bieber looks like no structural issues, just some general soreness. So he got a clean bill of health. He's going to throw a bullpen next week and then go back on rehab. So maybe you see him when he returned from the All-Star break. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that will be a huge injection to this rotation. But they need more help around Jose Ramirez because this guy just continues to get it done. Check out this stat here. Jose Ramirez leads all Cleveland players in hits, doubles, home runs, runs scored, RBI, and stolen bases. He's already got 20 steals on the year. 20 already, George. Unbelievable. Through 65 games for the third time in his career. 2022, 2024, and now 2025. No other Major League player has done that more than once. Talk about being the best of the best on your own team. Now, as incredible as this is, George, and as unbelievably talented as Jose Ramirez is, this stat also kind of feels like an indictment of the front office, not giving enough around him or building enough around him to support Jose Ramirez. I know Josh Naylor got traded in this offseason, right? And, Manzardo hasn't really delivered maybe what you expect. And they wait for Chase DeLauder to get healthy. Maybe he'll be the next big star in Cleveland along with Ramirez. But it just makes you wonder, George, why the Cleveland Guardians, with this superstar, rock star player that they've got, haven't put more around him to protect him and maybe give the Guardians a legitimate shot, especially now. Maybe this is the year, George, as the Minnesota Twins are falling apart at the seams. More on them in just a second. But should the Guardians go all in with Pablo Lopez, Zebby Matthews? Oh, and stop me if you heard this before. Royce Lewis just went on the IL again this weekend.
Not to mention the Kansas City Royals having all sorts of problems as well here, as they're falling out of it also. Now, listen, I said on the show yesterday with Craig that Ramirez is probably the guy we don't talk about enough. So it's kind of funny that you bring him up today. He is a superstar. All right, he's a mid-round, first-round pick in fantasy every year, right? But he's sort of the unsexy guy for whatever reason. He's not Judge, he's not Witt, he's not Ohtani, not Mookie Betts, that kind of guy, Tucker, whoever it might be. I'll take Jose Ramirez. And okay, people just move on. You solidified third base. You got a great player who does everything. All right, it amazes me, Joe, because when I look at Cleveland, and you've already said this, he's not beating me. Anybody but Ramirez. Quan wants to beat me, fine. Bo Naylor, fine. But it's not going to be Jose Ramirez. I'm not losing to Jose Ramirez. Your teams do it over and over again. I don't understand it. Why is this guy? Why is he the one hitting a home run last night to tie that game up? By the way, they blew that game, right? Clase blew another save last night. Something to keep an eye on. There. I just laugh. Oh, beat you. Really good guys, really smart. Let the best player on the one of the best players in baseball, and the only player who can really hit on that team is what they hit for power. Let him be the guy who beat you. Really great there. Fantastic player there. A little bit of everything. He's only 5 off the stolen base lead in baseball. He's not going to lead baseball in stolen bases, but he's doing all he can to help this team. But as you said, not going to be enough, and that's not on the players. That's not on the manager. That's on the front office.
It absolutely is. And it's a shame. And if I'm a Cleveland Guardians fan, I'm annoyed. And look, go get him some more help. Go call the Pittsburgh Pirates. Go call the Red Sox. If they're trying to get rid of Durant, if you can get Brian Reynolds, one of those guys, give him somebody else, something to help Jose Ramirez here. Please, for the love of God, get this guy some assistance. He's a one-man wrecking crew. And as George said, why other teams allow him to wreck the game, I don't understand either. The big offseason move is what? Bringing in 39-year-old Carlos Santana to that lineup? Come on. Cleveland, be better. Quan's a nice player. Manzardo, I think, has some ability, but still just not enough there. George, real quick here. I did mention Royce Lewis going the IL, Zebby Matthews, Pablo Lopez. Are the Twins falling apart before our very eyes here at the All-Star break?
Pretty much, right. Do I think they're out of it? No. Long season to go. Still got 100 games here. No one's going to run away. That's not going to catch Detroit, but there's still a shot for a wild card. But this seems like a lost season for the Twins.
Yeah, it certainly seems like Detroit will benefit quite a bit from some of these injuries and ineptitude of the rest of the Central. A very winnable division where you thought the Royals, the Guardians, and the Twins were all going to fight with the Tigers. Right now, the Tigers are just going to keep sailing. But my question is that a good thing necessarily? Because they might get that playoffs and think that their you-know-what doesn't stink. Who knows? They might be out in that first round. You never know. I'm excited about the Tigers. Hour 2 of FST. We come back after this.